Gail, I'm going to hit you first. You ready? Got a bit of a multifaceted question for you. What is a personal challenge you have faced in relation to diversity? What inspires you to be so involved? And what are some of the changes you've witnessed over your time? How has this changed your understanding of diversity? You got that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You want me to repeat it for you? You want my notepad. Gail.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to say that we did have a history before Mardi Gras. There was a gay lib history, and it was happening. But the first Mardi Gras did give us an incredibly enormous impetus to our movement. We became so much more focused and organised from that time on. We set up many groups and institutions that began to act on our behalf that weren't around when I marched in that first Mardi Gras and have been around for many of you. Just things like, just like our magazines and newspapers, Lottle, the Sydney Star Observer, the Gay and Lesbian Counselling Service, the Immigration Task Force, ACON, Mardi Gras itself, all of these things, the Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby, I think I might have mentioned that have acted on our behalf in the years since Mardi Gras. Gay became gay and lesbian. You have no idea how enormous that was when the boys were challenged and we wanted to add the L word. You know, it was just incredible. Gay and lesbian became GLBT. GLBT becomes GLBTI, and it all becomes queer. And personally, I actually love queer because it's inclusive. It's a little bit easier to get your head around than LGBTIQ and whatever else might come next. And if I did put a label on myself, I would call myself a queer feminist. A few years ago, I was in Sweden and I went to a coffee shop that was flying a rainbow flag, of course, and picked up a little leaflet that I gleaned was about a queer feminist demonstration. Naturally, we couldn't resist going to it. And I just felt so much at home. There were girls who looked like boys and boys who looked like girls and drag queens and old lesbians older even than me and and teenagers and people of colour, and everything under the sun was there, all identifying as queer and as feminist. And I thought, wow, this is for me. I haven't very often heard the two words put together, but that's what I like. What inspires me to stay involved? A very fierce sense of what is fair. I intensely dislike sexism, homophobia, racism, and all of the other things all of the other ways that human beings are discriminated against. Also self-respect, because as a lesbian, I want and deserve equal rights in every area of my life, for myself and for everyone in this room. The first question, which I'm putting last, which was the one about a personal challenge relating to diversity. Many years ago, there was a lot of money was raised to start something called the Lesbian Space. It was a building, a space, and lots of money was raised and a space was bought and created and things were happening in it. And at a certain point in time, some transgender lesbians wanted to come to that space. And there was a lot of controversy about that. That sort of controversy would probably not arise today. I certainly hope that it wouldn't arise today, but this was probably in the mid-80s. There was a lot of controversy about it, and a lot of angry people, a lot of angry women didn't want the trans lesbians to be in that space. And finally a meeting was held at which a decision was going to be made. And the personal challenge for me was that I didn't agree with the majority, and I felt that trans lesbians should be included in that space. And I knew that at this meeting I would have to stand up and speak from my heart, and if there was a vote, I would have to vote the way that I believed. And standing or speaking against many friends and peers and colleagues and women that I knew very well was incredibly, it was frightening. I was frightened of repercussions. I was frightened of repercussions against my workplace. But I knew that I wanted to say that the right thing to do is that trans lesbians should be in this space. And there was me and about 2 others who voted that way. And it was an incredibly hard thing to do, but I'm very glad to this day that that was the way I felt, and that I had the courage to actually speak at that meeting and say it in spite of the hostility and the anger. That I would like to add that I think a lot of women in that room have probably changed their position by now and don't think the same. So, yeah, so that was...
So, Gail, I guess you would say, and then we'll go on to Mish afterwards, that conflict has actually been an asset to our community in some ways, that things change because of conflict.
Well, I think that things change because of conflict if we're willing to listen to each other and respect our differences, and yeah, just listen with respect.